And so when you asked me that, I was like, yeah, this is my fucking shadow, man. I mean, and how can that come out of me? How? How is it possible?
Okay, so let's try something here. We're gonna do this a little bit differently.
I love when she gets in this mode.
So the post the posts that we have created so far have been in a WhatsApp chat, and those audios come in as a message. And each message can be responded to in the moment by another participant, or it can be responded to within a couple of days. This particular episode is going to be a little bit different because you're going to hear us all together at the same time. You're going to hear emotions come up live as they happen. You're going to hear us interrupt each other. You're going to hear a real conversation between these three fractals that have started this particular project. And the reason why we're doing this particular episode in this manner is because the last episode that we posted brought in a lot of heavy emotions. And it's going to bring in those emotions to the people who are listening, but it also brought in the emotions to the people who created it. And this is what you're going to hear us move through in this moment. So, Huchina and Punto Cero, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can just start talking and maybe just give context for the conversation that we're meeting here now to just um, offer um, more spaciousness to the podcast we just released because um, you can have a reaction when something is just dropped in, and to let people know that there's actually quite a bit of thought that goes in.
Yeah, and emotion. I would say,
Yeah.
because actually, I think what generated this conversation, where it emerged, is really from the emotions that we felt around the subject. And the least thing that I want is to give the impression that we're taking the subject lightly. And I've thought about this a lot over the weekend after our call. And I don't think that that came across clearly, that this is definitely a transcendental subject and that the emotions that stirred in us warranted some more open discussion and sharing.
Right. Like,
So the emotions that emerged were born from a description of a dream that I had in the White Ayahuasca episode. And most of it had circled around the sacred geometry and the theme of white ayahuasca and bees. And we had been having these bee related and sacred geometry related dreams. At the end of that dream period, I had a dream um, that where I saw images of a baldish woman in a dungeon in a very dark place, and she looked very crazy, masturbating while watching children. And when I woke up, I was terrified. And with my eyes open, fully awake, I saw that dome, that sacred geometry dome. But this time it wasn't white, it was black. And there was a green light flashing, flashing, flashing. And it took me a while because my heart was racing and I was hyperventilating. It took me a while to gather my bearings and realize, okay, I'm awake. That was a horrible dream. You're awake, you're awake. I didn't describe any more details of the dream because it was already horrifying enough to describe what I mentioned. And for a few days, I was in this inner battle of should I share this dream or not? Because obviously it's a dream that is disturbing. It was scary, and it was my question was, should I share this content in public? And even with my dearest friends, Huchina and Goldie Moon. And where does this come from? What part of myself does this come from? Those were the two big questions. And then after much inner debate, I thought, okay, if I share the light dreams, the ones with the white light and the white ayahuasca, I'm not honest if I don't share like the dark ones where clearly there's something really shadowy happening in my subconscious. So I made a tough call and I decided to record that message on WhatsApp. It was a really difficult decision to make. I think that in that episode, I had an inquiry about because the timing of that recording was right about when all the stuff about the Epstein files was being published, and of course I was horrified. I was like, what world am I living in? This is ridiculous. How come we didn't know about all this? Everyone's involved, even people that we admire spiritually are involved. There are names that are totally surprising. And I, as much as many other people, especially women, went into a crisis of sorts. And I think one of my analysis about this is that I integrated that into that collective unconscious into my own and expressed it in the dream. I don't know if that's an easy explanation, but certainly um, it's a possible explanation. The other possible explanation is that there's some really dark shadow inside of me that hadn't been surfaced and that now I see it. And so that's just the description of what happened to me.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because that is a very deep and personal thing to witness within yourself, and to express it is completely vulnerable, and it's very brave of you. And I admire that.
Thank you.
When you woke up from the dream, what were you feeling emotionally in your self?
Fear, fear, horror, even horror, because this woman had appeared in the dream previously as this beautiful, pure, lovable creature that I kind of fell in love with. And I don't know what happened in the interim, but in the next scene of my dream, it was almost like a movie. Now that I say scene, she's in this really dark, horrible place, and I see her for what she really is. Like, I'm like, this can't be the same woman. And she's in doing something that anyone would say is disgusting and disturbing, you know.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it was horror and fear and I guess even sadness. I woke up almost crying, like What happened? What happened to this person that was so beautiful and pure? Why was I so fooled? You know,
Mhm.
most dream analysts say that every single thing in a dream is self-referential. So that's why I'm like, is that my own shadow? Is both the beautiful, amazing, light, lovable woman and this dungeon creature that I can't even fathom being part of me, but there's a very clear possibility she is. And if so, how do I integrate that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, one might argue that we can't heal or be whole unless we do see that material. And so I'm appreciating that you're allowing yourself to traverse those spaces, right? So that I don't think I mean, I don't know about reaching wholeness ever, but I don't think we can integrate without including those parts. Whether it's something within you, whether it's something that you're tapping into, like, right? It's like it's within us, but it's also connected to the whole, right? It's not existing in a vacuum within us, right? If we're three fractals of consciousness, it's also in all of us.
And so I have to add here that even though at the beginning I didn't appreciate when Goldie Moon um inquired about this, like should we leave that part out or should we keep it and should we give a fair warning? I I was like, of course I didn't explain like what a huge dilemma this was to me. So I was like, why would we leave it out when it took so much trouble to put it in? Now I appreciate that her question was just a concern for the content and that her intent was to protect me and us from, you know, the liabilities, the obvious liabilities, but also deeper than that, way deeper than that, it did um prompt a much deeper inquiry, not just in me, but maybe in this interaction of these three fractals of consciousness about what that meant and what we felt around it.
Yeah, my initial question to all of us was whether or not I should put up a content warning for people who may not in this moment have the ability to hear something that is difficult to hear. In their space and time, they might be a little bit fragile. And I didn't want it to come as a shock to them and to throw them off their course for their moment in this life. It's That's where it was kind of coming from. And also, I posed the question to you, Punto Cero, if you were still comfortable for you as an individual to have this content still out there since it has your voice attached to it. It wasn't a concern for me as an individual. It wasn't a concern for this project at all. It was for you and for the listeners who may come unknowing that something like that is going to be heard in that moment. Because I know it's going to be triggering for a lot of people, especially since we've been so flooded lately with all this news about the Epstein files and just I mean, a lot of the world right now is very destructive, and any tiny little thing that is hard to hear is going to throw people off if they're not prepared. So that is where my heart was in that moment, but I understand that it came across as trying to silence you, and that I'm very deeply sorry that it came across that way to you. That is not anything I've ever wanted for you. And it makes me want to know more about why being silenced is so hard for you.
Well, one of the reasons is because I guess one of my quests is is being exactly what I am. And I think you both witnessed that I don't try to mellow myself, and I know I'm intense. Um, I think that raw honesty is not always appreciated. And it certainly wasn't like when I was little. Of course. I mean, it all boils down to that. And speaking of something so intimate and so vulnerable is to me is just like maybe it's the opposite of what the dream one is like. I have nothing to hide, you know? I have nothing to hide. What you see is what you get. And even if it's fucking disturbing, like that's what's in there. And so when you asked me that, I was like, yeah, this is my fucking shadow, man. I mean, and I want you to love it too. Because I'm having a hard time loving it. Fuck. And how can that come out of me? How? How is it possible that that's even unconsciously? I mean, like, but it was there. And I would be remiss to share the light, sacred geometry, and not the dark one. It was exactly the same except black. So I was like, there's something to this, you know? There's something that I see the sacred geometry perfectly in association to your bee dreams and all this and the light and the beauty. And I also see the sacred geometry in the dark. I mean, there has to be a deeper explanation. And I've honestly found in so many things that I've read, I mean, they're both divine, you know. And maybe this was, you know, the dream was just prompting me to get it out and say, okay, this is you can see exactly into my soul with everything it has. I'm allowing you to see into my soul.
And you felt judged in that moment by me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So dropping back into that feeling of me judging you.
Yeah, so one of the things that I have to mention here is that this connection, this interaction, this friendship, this sisterhood that I have with you and Huchina is a great container. And I love it because ever since the day we met 5 years ago, I felt that you were the people um, that I could totally be punto cero with, you know? And so I, I need that. I need that because I don't have that elsewhere. I just don't. I don't. The other person that ever provided that sense of security and reliability and like unconditional love was my mother. And she's gone, but my friends, my family, my like I feel like a total weirdo with them. So I felt that maybe that was kind of pulled away from me a little.
Going back to that moment when you first read my message asking, was there a part of you that heard your own voice within that message that you were reading?
No, it was really so basic, so like she of all people, because we've talked about these things so much because I know you better. I said I don't want to be censored and I get it now that you did want to censor me, but that's what I felt initially. And I know who you are and I know the work, the deep, deep work that you have done in the tremendous understanding that you have. And so that's why I was so thrown off base. Like I was like, no, this can't be. This is not even Goldie Moon. But it was definitely not me because I had worked it out from the beginning. You know what I mean? I had
Mhm.
processed this discomfort that I felt and decided I'm gonna I'm gonna share it. Fully aware, fully conscious.
Your response to me, it made me angry. I was very angry. Um, it attacked me as an individual and my character and my path within this realm. It it touched a part of my wound, my geez, how to say it? It touched part of my inner child wounding of wanting to be seen as for who I am. And you, in your message, said, you claim to be this. So you therefore were saying to me and my little wounded child, saying that I am not what I claim to be. And I was shocked and I was hurt in that moment by some of the things that you had come back at me asking when I thought I was protecting you. That to me just showed the depth of the wounding for both of us in that moment, the way that we both reacted. You brought in the whole concept of love and light. And that, I think that was the biggest trigger part for me, was questioning my integrity within and my belief system within the concept of love and light and shadow work and what that means and how I navigate within that realm. And that was hard for me to hear. Love and light can also be within the shadow, and the shadow can most definitely be within the love and light. And I think that is actually what happened in that moment.
I totally understand and feel why you were hurt by my words. Okay, I'm really gonna go for deeper then. I've always felt, and I do not want to offend anyone. This is just like now I'm going into a cultural perspective that Americans in general are very prudish and want to avoid certain subjects. And sometimes at the beginning when I first arrived at the US and I openly talked about sex, it was like super a bombshell, like a total, and I was like, oh fuck, man, what did I just do, you know? And I felt that reaction several times until I adapted and I was like, don't go there. But there was a wound. Of course, there was a wound because again, it's like not my whole self is not being fully accepted, but I also have to be mindful that I'm in a culture that is different from where I come from. So I have to learn and adapt if I want to live here. And this was this perpetual thing. Okay. And maybe my reaction was partly from that old, and I'm talking about 30 years ago, repressed wound of there are things you should not mention. I think there's something very true to that. And I disregarded the person that I was actually dealing with, who I know deeply, and just put that on you.
I think we do that when we know we're speaking with somebody who we deeply trust. I think it sometimes comes out a little bit easier. Yes, it can come out to people that we also really just viscerally don't like and don't care. But I know I can say whatever I need to say with you and Huchina and be safe in my ugliness. And when my shadow will come out, and I can most definitely project onto both of you, and I know you'll still see the truth behind what that is and the truth behind me and who I actually am. So once I was able to see my trigger within your message to back to me and calm myself down, I was able to see and notice the mirror that we were for one another in that moment. So what I'm saying, I suppose, is just that thank you. And I see you, and I will always love you.
Right back at you. I'm so sorry I caused
I'm not.
that hurt.
So one thing that I think your dream does really well is showing us that the predator can first look really beautiful, innocent, attractive, inviting, but then their true nature is what actually turns around and is being seen and acted upon. I can definitely tell you times in my life where a predator was in my life that came out of nowhere because they were most definitely that attractive, charismatic individual because they know how to play that role.
Yeah, you make me realize that this dream was very archetypal and you put a name to it. And I guess I don't know, maybe I wonder I don't know if I want to leave this in the actual thing, but I wonder if I myself present as someone, charismatic and attractive and da 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 da, and then become this predator that preys on emotions and is needy and insecure.
Who hasn't done that?
Wasn't it somebody that said that Mother Teresa became a nun because she saw the little Hitler within herself?
Oh, wow.
I don't know, but I believe it.
The more we realize and see these aspects of ourselves that we don't like, the more they're going to come into an embodied moment of awareness that you're not actually going to act upon it.
Yeah. It's when we don't take the time to explore the dream and share the dream with people or whoever our healers are. So when it comes out, that shit comes out sideways.
Yeah.
Like it's so essential for our healing to be with all those parts that we don't like, to honor them, include them. So it's like some quality of you within you knows that and refuses to do less, right? That's very in integrity, I think. To be like, I can't leave this out.
So I've had a plethora of opportunities to embody the person that has seen that shadow and reacts from another place. And sometimes I accomplish it. And unfortunately, there are still times where I see that person and I'm like, okay, punto cero, you're being that person you don't like. And yet that beast explodes and goes the other way. And so I guess it's the life work.
I mean, I wonder if what we're doing even just right now is a way to help us in that process of being able to be uh more out with the shadow material. This container here right now, the fact that we were able to go, hey, let's talk and have this conversation where we explore these reactions that were happening in with a really open-hearted, like really just allowing you two really did this beautiful thing of hearing each other and just letting yourselves be impacted by each other. Um, I think that's exactly what helps with those moments where, we feel like the beast is unleashed without any sort of consciousness. Like we feel like there's absolutely no control. I think having spaces like that helps us heal that experience of feeling like we what I don't know how to name this. Maybe punto cero you can even say, or Goldie Moon you could say, of of it being expressed so unconsciously, like we can bring more consciousness to the expression of something that is a little more unprocessed.
I believe that the soul brings the experiences that we need to have, the shadow right in front of us to see, and the perfect mirrors that can show you, right? And I think this is like the typical situation where there's an experience, it generates emotions, we react to the emotions, and that's exactly what we needed at that point to really, really see it outside of ourselves.
And also the processing after the fact, that we could hold each other and listen to each other versus it becoming um uh
A
like a
deal
like
breaker.
a wound, or or like what they say trauma is. It's not the event, it's the experience of it going unprocessed afterwards. And so we did that, or we're doing that right now. Not as a cure-all, but but something is happening here. I'm really glad we did this.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Well, hopefully this opens up the doorway for other people to have conversations, tough conversations with the people they love.
Oh wait, no, I forgot. Well, I'm not sure where this message belongs actually. Um, I'm feeling really complete with our conversation. I thought it was so funny that Mercury, our planet of communication, entered Cancer, which is an incredibly nurturing energy, and so that was holding the discussion, or that energy was part of the discussion. I just sometimes I'm awestruck by how the things line up and the synchronicities line up. Um, Goldie Moon, you said something. I'm not even exactly sure what the words were, but basically how when anger is present, I show up as though I'm already in trouble, and I'm the one who's in trouble, even though it was not about me. and um and it's such obvious uh an obvious sort of thing to notice, but it was just so it was just so astute and so exactly what I needed to be noticed. It's almost like the simplicity of it was genius. And so I'm sitting with that, and that is what's been healing for me to kind of um check out more of. And so that was a really beautiful gift. And then the gift that Punto Cero you offered me, of just holding me in my very messy expression of anger, and just not retreating, not yelling back, not just being so patient. And I just don't think that I've ever been like in my old family systems, that I've expressed anger and been met with such like calm, beautiful patience, even though my triggered child self was expecting something completely different from you. So that's that's just kind of what's been sort of wafting through my being and my experience, and as these lovely gifts from the conversation that we had. And yeah, I'm feeling also complete.
No part of this video or audio may be used or reproduced in any manner for the purpose of training artificial intelligence technology or systems in any manner. The narrator's voice may not be cloned, duplicated, or reused to generate future AI audio without permission. Bees and eels, all rights reserved.